Hey everyone, day 42. As you can probably tell from my clothing, it's football season and I love football. I am so happy that football season is back. But it got me thinking about a lot of things in the last year. And for those who aren't football fans, American football fans, I'm going to apologize because I'm probably going to use some references that may be out of context for you, but maybe I can put definitions in the description or something. It was a little more than a year ago where I felt like I first got my calling, that I was reminded of the thing that I was put here to do, and where my awakening journey really kind of kicked into a new gear. And in that time, there's been a lot of things of significant size, significant scope that I've been working on and working very hard, pretty much nonstop, trying to do this, trying to do that, trying to do the other. And it seemed like none of them were moving forward, nothing. Actually, several of them moved backward quite a bit. It felt like, despite all my intentions to get through that line and make progress toward my goal, I was being held. In some cases, I was being tripped. In other cases, it felt like unnecessary roughness. And it was brutal trying to make progress on these things because it just felt like things came out of the woodwork to keep me from being able to move ahead and make forward progress. And that was incredibly frustrating. Still is incredibly frustrating. But I've reached a point where I'm just tired. I'm bone tired. Trying to manage all of these different balls in the air, my own awakening, and just my own well being and sanity. It's too much. And if those other things aren't going to go ahead, you know what? I'm just going to have to set them down for a while. Because I got to care for me again. All the rest of this just is, it's been overwhelming. It's been staggering. And I've noticed that from, this sabbatical time, that taking some of those things off of my plate has helped. Now, granted, other things have come in to take their place, but some of those are now resolved or resolving so that they're no longer a major point of focus. And I was meditating earlier today, and I decided to change things up and actually have my boys meditate with me. I've got a meditation video that I put on the screen, and I said, boys, just sit there. If you want to keep your eyes open and watch the screen, great. If you want to close them and just listen, that's great too. Just sit there, breathe, feel your body, and listen for any messages that come to you. And I was pleasantly surprised they did. And it's not the first time we've tried meditating together, but usually that's, I'll put on something in the car while we're driving somewhere, and, that helps them get some peace while we're on the drive. But I think to my meditation experience during that, and this was fairly short, it was like 20 minutes. But started hearing my old coach. I started hearing my old coach from high school football, and where my trip ups were. What were the things that I had difficulties with? And for those who know football, I used to play on the line. I played offensive and defensive line. And when I was on offensive line, where I'm protecting my quarterback, I'm protecting my running back, the biggest challenge that I had was a false start. False start is when you start making progress, you start engaging your competitor, you start engaging the other team before the play has started, before the ball snapped, maybe even before the whistle's blown. And that's just not allowed. It can't be allowed, and there are penalties to that. Now, when I played on defense, my biggest challenge was encroachment. And it's basically the same thing as a false start, except the defense doesn't start the play. So I'm over the line before the play is started, or I'm on the line of scrimmage, which is not allowed. And so in both cases, it was this anxious anticipation of let's get going, let's do this, let's get it, let's get in, let's get it in. And I started hearing my old coach. And just the way he always used to, he said, "Goodwin, false start." And he was right. I started the play. I started the forward progress before it was time, before it was ready. And so even though I could finally see my goal for the first time, I pushed too hard and too fast, and it wasn't time. And so I faced the penalties of that. I was moved backwards. My progress was stopped. The other thing that comes to mind is one of the things that Coach would have us do, especially during the off season, but during football season as well. And for those of you who are trying to lose weight or get tone or get buff, it's actually a really good suggestion that works very well. For those who watch TV, especially if you watch sporting events, any kind of sporting event, what you do is if you're at home watching it on TV, every time there's a commercial break, you get on the floor and you do sets of exercises. So maybe there's a commercial break and you do jumping jacks and squats and push-ups, and then your show or your game comes back on and you go back to watching the game. But you'd be amazed how much exercise you can do just by exercising in those commercial periods, those rest periods. And one of the things Coach used to always say is that those who are successful make their progress at the time where everyone else is resting. They put in their work when everyone else is resting. And that's what I was trying to do. I didn't know where my awakening journey was going to take me. I didn't know what was coming next, but I knew I had a goal. And so I was going to use every available minute, hour to push ahead on those things. And when it's time to start, I imagine I'll do that again. But what I'm receiving now is it's just not time. And all of the pushback and all of the flack and all the penalties and and a lot of the pain came because I was starting before the play started. I was starting before it was time. Seeing the goal is one thing. That doesn't mean that once you see it, it's time to go. And I should have remembered that, because one of the things that used to drive me insane when I played offensive line was if there was a running play and the running back was supposed to come either on my left side or my right side, and I was supposed to set up a hole or a gap for the running back to run through. If the running back got there too early, it didn't matter whether I was doing the right thing or the wrong thing. The play ended up broken up because the running back didn't wait for the hole to be set. The running back didn't wait for me to finish my block. The running back didn't wait for the defense to get in the way. They just plowed ahead. And as a result, what could have been a much bigger play, a better play, ended up stopped where it was because they arrived at that point too soon. Yeah, I'm starting to think that's exactly what I've been doing for the last year or so. So I'm going to take some time off of all of that and just rest, recoup for when it is game time, when it is play time. Because I've got some bruises to heal. And I've got some accountability to take on and understand that a lot of the crazy of the past year is my fault. I jumped the gun. I started too soon. And I'm sure had I been listening better, that I would have gotten that message, but I wasn't. I wanted to plow ahead. I wanted to get to that goal. I wanted to get to that goal. But it wasn't time. The blocks weren't set. The play hadn't started. The people weren't in the right positions. And so I walked into the teeth of that defense again and again and again. And I paid the price for it. So my hope for you is that this answer helps you to avoid some of your false starts. And my hope for me is that when I need to be reminded of this, that I come back to this video or come back to this answer or come back to this guidance and just slow myself down when I need to. Because pressing ahead when it's not your time is just a painful process. In the meantime, I'm going to enjoy some football. I'm going to enjoy my family. I'm going to enjoy the blessings that I have. Set my intentions for the further blessings that I want. And just try to enjoy life for a while. Hope you've enjoyed this. Have a great day. God bless.